Hello and welcome to this special broadcast on NewsX. Yes, I am at Kalamassery Zamra Convention Center, and this is the area where the heinous crime of bomb blast took place yesterday morning. Well, you can see that is there's some chairs spread there, and in the middle was where the blast happened. The Jehovah convention was having Jehovah Witnesses. There were about 500 to 600 people inside this very hall when that IED-triggered blast took off, killing 3 people. One woman was burned to death, the other one succumbed to injuries. The third one, there was a child who was in fact taken to hospital, and she breathed her last this morning. About 40 of them injured, and all of them are receiving treatment at the hospitals. There is a hospital very close by to this convention center, and this was a 3-day convention which was happening at the Zamra Convention Center, wherein this convention, or rather the Jehovah Witnesses, were praying for those who lost life in Israel, and there was a resolution also which was passed in support of Israel. There were a lot of activities in Kochi and Kerala especially ever since the Israel and the Gaza conflict triggered widespread hatred and also debates and discussion on Israel's attack and the Hamas striking back, and this whole incident that has got the world to watch. There was another convention on Friday wherein a Hamas lieutenant in fact addressed a large gathering of Jamatis in Ernakulam, and initially it was said that this had triggered someone to in fact plant a bomb which took the lives of 3 people. But a few hours later, what happens is a person by name Dominic Martin. He does a Facebook Live, and in that Facebook Live, he says that it was he who planted the bombs here, and that this was in retaliation against the ideology of Jehovah's. It is a small community which was in fact formed in the 1860s in the United States of America, wherein they have their own convictions, though they are the Christian denomination, but they do not identify themselves as Christians. They are a close-knit community who always believe in having their own community activities. They do not mingle with any other communities, and they have very strong convictions about the Jehovah principles. And this is where Dominic Martin, the person who was part of this congregation for 16 years. He is a foreman. He worked in Kochi for about 15 years. He was also an English tutor, and later he took up a job in Dubai. He returns to Kochi just about 4 to 6 months prior to this, and he is motivated. In fact, he has met the heads of this congregation on several occasions and told them that he doesn't agree. This particular philosophy does not augur well with the society. It's antisocial by nature, and you should not preach people that there should be a division or hatred in society. So much so that he becomes an extremist himself. Now, in that Facebook Live that he released just a few hours after this particular incident, he confesses that no one should know as to how I prepared these bombs. These were improvised bombs. These were IEDs, about 4 of them which were planted. He used petrol. He used a radio frequency of toy cars, of children who used the toy cars. He used that, and he also had basic knowledge about explosives. He improvised this for the last 5 to 6 months, and later on he got this particular bomb. He rents an apartment in Kochi. He stays there for about 4 to 6 months, and he waits for an opportunity to strike. When the atmosphere turns vicious in Kochi after that Jamaati convention that happens in Kochi, and then also about how this congregation particularly supports Israel. That is when he says that he thought that it was the right moment to bring attention, to focus on this particular community, the Jehovah community, the witnesses of Jehovah, and also throw light on the practices or the philosophies in this particular community, and that is why he triggered those blasts. He wants people to know as to what this community is indulged in. He wanted people to focus on this particular community, which in fact teaches all about division in the society, of being a classist who are separate from the philosophy of Islam, Christianity, and any other religion per se. So he assembles these bombs and then he plants it. In fact, he uses the mobile phones, radio frequency, remote controls of cars. He uses petrol. He packages these entire explosives in a bag. It's a jute bag which he uses to, put it, and he places right in the middle inside this particular hall. And in his confession to the police, our sources and NIA sources do tell us that he, in fact, was standing in a corner. He left his home around 5:40 in the morning. He reaches the convention about 7 in the morning, and then he places the bag. He's around this convention center. He's watching them closely and goes to the corner and triggers it using 2 mobile phones. There were two IEDs which was used for these 4 IED bombs which he had planted right in the middle of this particular hall. And then once the blast happens, he just walks away from this premises. And then he logs into a hotel very close by. Of course, all these are details which the police have not revealed us. The investigators, about 20 of the investigators, including a DCP, are investigating this matter. What we are given to understand at this point in time is that there is going to be a press conference by the crime branch of Kalamseri in just a short while, wherein details about all the details about this particular heinous bomb blast, a terrorist attack, a lone wolf attack that happened in this particular Zamra hall will be revealed by the ADGP in just a short while. But then the sum and substance of this entire incident has shocked and left the people of Kerala shell-shocked. Kerala is a very mix of culture, tradition, and communities. In fact, it is one state wherein people from 3 different communities, the Muslims, the Christians, and the Hindus, live in harmony. Their cultural festivals, integrate with each other. They are a very learned society where literacy is 100%, and people are sensitive and sensible to the community's demands and also the programs, the festivals, and the culture that happens in Kerala. Now, no sooner this blast happened, we have seen politics also around it. There was an all-party meeting called by the Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan today, which was attended by all the political parties. Well, Raji Chandrasekhar, who is the Union Minister for IT, left no turn unturned to say that this particular government run by the left and also the Congress are particularly responsible for what happened because they are more liberal to such antisocial fundamentalists who in fact trigger violence in the society. Ravi Chandrasekhar going on record to state that he holds Pinarayi Vijayan solely responsible for breathing, or rather giving more air to such elements who are indulged in such heinous acts. We saw JP Nadda, who is the president of the BJP. He also participated in a protest that happened in Trivandrum. That was around 2:33 in the afternoon. And then we saw a resolution, an all-party resolution which was passed by the government, which was released by the Chief Minister. In the resolution, it clearly states that he is going to increase the vigilance across the Kerala state. There are communally sensitive areas wherein certain antisocial elements try to fan some kind of violence. It's a very sensitive matter. This being the case, the vigilance has been increased in across Kerala state. There will be extra eyes on those elements, especially those Jamaatis and other extremists who in fact give hatred speech. The government will have a zero tolerance policy towards hatred towards other communities, or the hate speech, which is so defined as the government will not allow any kind of hate speech. Huge deployment of police forces across Kerala, especially around the sensitive areas. These are certain measures that have been immediately undertaken by the Kerala government. But on the other side, investigations continue. We'll have to wait and see what, in fact, the investigators say, because these investigations have happened right through yesterday. In fact, Dominic Martin walked into that Thrissur district police headquarters and surrendered himself, claiming responsibility for this terrorist attack. And in that statement of his, he very clearly said that he is solely responsible for this act. Ever since then, there are several measures that were taken up by the Kerala police. He was subjected to medical tests. He was produced before magistrate, and then he was, in fact, interrogated, where is given all the graphical details as to how and where he assembled all those bombs. Now, these are some details, and the corroboration will happen from the ADG himself, who's going to hold a press conference in just a while. But then the details about how or what measures, or rather what are the steps he took to conduct this heinous crime, that confession has been made. The police, in fact, have been found out in 3 to 4 teams. They went to his house where he had rented for about last 4 to 6 months. They have collected evidence, corroborative evidence from that particular apartment of his. And they have also gone to this apartment where he stayed, or rather the hotel where he stayed. Very close by is what we are given to understand, that he had, in fact, checked into a lodge from where he did that Facebook Live. And they're also looking at his antecedents. It's also believed that he had his own kith and kin who was also attending this particular convention. His sister-in-law and a daughter, they were also in this particular convention center where the blast occurred. Now, if you go back to this convention center, we've seen how volunteers, activists, coordinators, they are all, in fact, been deployed here in big numbers. There were police forces that came, there were ambulances that came, NI officers were also at the scene since yesterday, and all kinds of material evidence has been collected from this particular place, timer devices and the ID triggered cables. Then you have petrol, amongst other explosives that was recovered from this place. You can see there is a chair there, and below the chair are the you can say the charred parts. That is where the first blast happened. You can see the impact on the chair there too. If I can ask my camera person to zoom in a little bit out and show a panoramic view of that blast area. If you can just zoom out and show that particular place where the blast happened. That's where the blast happened. The first one was a big blast, and the other two were the mild to blast. And the raging fire was so much so that even the ceiling of this particular convention center, you can see the smoke, emanating smoke, left the ceiling also dark and patchy. Minute this incident happened, there were a lot of videos that were made and sent on social media. The police swung into action, and we could, in fact, see those videos being posted on social media too. And police person in large numbers have been particularly deployed here in this particular convention center. And we could see that deployment all through. There is huge deployment of policemen here in this particular convention center, Zamra Convention Center. This is where the blast took place. It's a very quiet neighborhood, you could say. There is SEZ, there are IT companies in this neighborhood. There is a medical college too, which is right next to this convention center, which in fact helped move these patients for emergency care for burn injuries. 9 99% of burn. That was what the first lady suffered, who died. And then there was another lady who suffered about 78%. There was a child about 12 years old. She also suffered about 80% of the injuries. She was in an unknown medical center. Then when the police contacted the family, she was being shifted to a big hospital. That is the multi-speciality hospital of Kochi. And the doctors declared her brought dead. They tried to revive her, but then she couldn't be revived. And about 3 of them dead and about 40 of them critical. We will in fact try and reach out to these families. NewsX is on ground zero reporting from this very Zamra Convention Center where this blast occurred. You can see people are still trickling out. They're making, they're trying to contact the family members of those who attended this convention. The police are investigating all the angles as far as this convention, Jehovah Witnesses convention is concerned. They want to see if there was any provocative speeches that was made at this convention. But then ultimately this incident has in fact left Kerala shocked. The government is in fact stunned by what has happened. There were congregations across Kerala ever since the Israeli conflict happened. October 7th, when the Hamas attacked Israel, we have seen small conventions of a Christian community coming out and supporting and also praying for the people of Israel. And finally, we saw on Friday, that is on the 27th, we saw there was a Hamas deputy lieutenant. He came on Facebook, or rather on social media. He was live and he was talking to this large congregation. About 1.5 lakh people had gathered for that convention which happened on Friday. There were intelligence reports too that this kind of gathering of one particular community, the Jamatis, could lead to some of the other incident. And finally that incident did happen on Sunday morning, but then initial reports suggesting that both these incidents cannot be directly connected. Now, this is a particular lone wolf attack that happened here in this convention center, and it was Dominic Martin. In just a few minutes from now, there is going to be a presser where the police, which have been investigating this for this incident for the past 28 hours, will spell out all those details and confirm whether it was Dominic Martin, whether any people behind him. His stay in Dubai is also an angle that the police is looking into. They have reached out to the Dubai police asking for his antecedents, his activities and his connections in Dubai, wherein did he in fact come in touch with any of the extremist groups there. That is also one angle we are looking at. We have seen time and again how there were radicalization of youth, particularly of the ISIS. We have seen in the past, recent past too. We saw how the Kerala story had also, in fact, triggered a lot of controversies. There were, radicalization and tension and friction, but then on the whole, the Kerala government or the intelligence didn't expect this kind of an incident to trigger off. And finally, the bomb blast that occurred has taken lives of 3 people, leaving about 40 injured. So in about 4 to 5 minutes is what I'm told that this particular this particular incident and all those details will be emerging. But as I said earlier, these are very early times, and more investigations will happen. And NIA and Kerala Police both are looking at this particular incident. We will bring you all the details from Kochi. And right now, Jayaprakash with camera person Venkatesh Perumal signing off from the Zamra Convention Center, the ground zero of the bomb blast.